on today's Chris. Where's my stuff to review? What? We're doing something different. I got the memo? Hold on a second. Oh, there's a memo here. Okay, so top 10. I haven't done top 10 in a long time. Why don't you do a top 10? Do a top 10 for your favorite Christmas shows you watch every single year. Who wrote this? Oh, it's my writing. Ooh, Alzheimer's already kicking in. Alright guys, we're going to do something a little bit different this time. I actually have gotten a lot of questions, surprisingly a lot of questions from you guys out there wanting to know, Spot, what do you watch every single year at Christmas time? Perhaps, what is your top 10? Your top 10 things of what you watch every single year. So I decided to shoot this video. I'm going to be telling you guys what this guy watches every single year, my top 10 favorite Christmas specials. Some of you might agree with me, some of you might not. Some of you might say, Spot, you left this off? How come? Well, a couple of factors that decide what it makes my top 10. It's very similar to every other top 10, I'm sure. It's not necessarily things that I would say are the best specials of all time. I factor in stuff that I would watch every single year. Some specials, for example, the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, I may not watch every single year. Sometimes there's specials that I may take a break from completely. And I might just every other year maybe I'll watch them. But these are the top 10 favorite Christmas specials that I watch every single year. My Christmas is missing if I don't get a chance to watch this particular special. So maybe you guys will agree with these lists. Before we actually do the top 10, there are specials that I do like to watch every single year that didn't quite make the top 10, but I'm going to talk about them right now. The first one is a relatively new movie, and it is the Jim Carrey's A Christmas Carol. And I actually watched this just last night. Well, last night in the span of when I'm shooting this review. The Disney's Christmas Carol, what I like about this is the fact that it seems to follow very closely the original Charles Dickens classic. Many of the Christmas carols cut out a lot of elements of the original classic novel. The Disney's Christmas Carol, on the other hand, seems to stick pretty close to it. And while I was on the fence about Jim Carrey being Ebenezer Scrooge, because I really didn't like him, you can't see me, I'm shaking my head. I really did not like him as the Grinch. Good enough, he was alright Grinch, but I thought the movie was a little too much to watch. But it stars Jim Carrey, it stars Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman's in it as well. He plays Bob Cratchit. Who else do we have in here? There's actually quite a big cast. Bob Hoskins is in it as well. And Carrie Ells is in there as well. I mean, it's a really all-star cast. Jim Carrey provides the likeness and the voices for all three of the ghosts. And it's CG, but it's something a little bit different. It's motion captured CG, so the animation in the movie is just fantastic. This has clearly become quickly my third favorite Christmas Carol. Third favorite? What's your second and first? We'll get into that in a second. So, Christmas Carol, I may not watch it every single year, but it is something that I have enjoyed watching, and I really enjoyed watching it last night. So, Christmas Carol. Let's go through here. Another one that I really like watching is the Alvin and Chipmunks, A Chipmunk Christmas. Now, this is interesting because I don't know if this is in circulation anymore, but when I picked this up, I really only was picking it up for the original Chipmunk Christmas from the early 80s, which I believe, I don't know if it actually gives a time, but it's like 81, 82. I'm probably going to be off on this, but the original Chipmunk Christmas, I'm sure many people have watched. It's the Christmas special where Alvin gives his harmonica to a little boy, or I think he promises his harmonica to a little boy, or he wants a golden harmonica. Again, it's been a while since I've watched it. That was the real reason why I picked up this special. Now, I didn't watch it last year, and I don't even think I watched it the year before. So again, my memory is a little on the crap. But The one thing I also really like about this special, and it was something that I didn't realize until after I had picked this special up, it also has 2 other Christmas carols in it. Now, the Dave's Wonderful Life is a total pass. I really am not a fan of that one. But the Merry Christmas, Mr. Carol is a good episode as well. It's a little more into the later 80s Chipmunk specials or Chipmunk episodes. And it's about a really nasty neighbor of the Sevilles. And he's grumpy. I think Alvin delivers the papers to him, and he's always is nasty about getting his newspaper and everything else. And you slowly find out. By the way, there's gonna be spoilers in this, so if anybody is like, "Oh, Spot, why are you telling me that?" I'm telling you right now. There's some spoilers. I think he ends up losing his wife or something. Not Alvin, the older father or the older gentleman loses his wife, or I think his kids don't visit or something anymore, and that's why he's miserable. And Alvin realizes that he's really not a bad guy after all, and it's a really good special. But I mean, the real reason I think to own this is to get the original Christmas special with the harmonica. So another runner-up. You know what? I'll just leave my pile here, something for you guys to look at. So that's another runner-up that I like watching. Another one that I may not watch every single year, but I try to. In fact, I'm going to probably try to watch it this year as well. Is the classic Bill Murray Scrooged. This it's not for everybody. I will say it's not for everybody. It's a much darker tone to it. Bill Murray pretty much plays a modern version of Ebenezer Scrooge. Hit Frank Cross. There we go. It says, high-spirited hijinks on Christmas Eve put Frank Cross in a ghostly time warp in this hilarious takeoff of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. Some interesting ghosts in there as well. I'm trying to see the names here again. Oh, Carol Kane. I really liked her. She plays the ghost of Christmas past. Shows him the toaster as he looks down and whacks him right in the face. I love that. And it's also got... I'm trying to see find the guy's name here. Well, it's got Karen Allen, who was... I think most people probably remember Karen Allen. She was in one of the Indiana Jones movies, and I think she was also in Starman. But it's also got this guy here, who plays the Ghost of Christmas Present, but he also is the guy that does that song back in the 80s. You know, feeling hot, hot, hot. Boop, 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 boop. So this isn't one I watch every single year. I want to watch it this year. It's not my top 10, but I figured I'd just show you guys. It's definitely one that I would check out. If I were you, I would definitely check out Scrooged. Put that aside. And finally, something I always watch every year, but really isn't one of my top 10s. And I don't know if you would really class this as Christmas either, is the Nicolas Cage Tia Leone special, The Family Man. It's not really a Christmas movie as much as it is a movie that takes place during Christmas. It's about a character. I'm trying to see his name here. Jack Campbell. That's right. It's about a character, Jack Campbell, who back in the 80s has a choice to get on a plane and I think go to France. And his girlfriend at the time says, "Don't get on that plane, choose us." And he says, "Well, I'll be right back." Well, years have skipped on, and he's a very, very successful businessman. I'm trying to remember what he actually... Wall Street trader. I watched this last week. You'd think my memory would be a little bit better. But he plays a Wall Street trader. And while one night, I think he stays for Christmas Eve, he's working overnight and he goes and gets eggnog from a local general store, and he runs into, where is his name? Oh, Don Cheadle. Don Cheadle is in this as well, and he plays a character named, I think, Cash. And he gives the choice, he robs a bank, or he robs a general store. He goes to cash a lottery ticket, and the clerk tells him to get out, and he proceeds to pull a gun. And Nicolas Cage goes up and offers to buy the lottery ticket off him for $200. And Dan, don't forget his name, Don Cheadle, there we go. Don Cheadle says, you know, you have everything you want, and Nicolas Cage's character, Jack, says, yes, I have everything I want, and he goes, I'm going to remember that, and he ends up waking up the next day, and he's married to Tia Leone's character. They've got kids, and it's really essentially a retelling of It's a Wonderful Life, or Mr. Destiny, if you've ever seen Mr. Destiny as well, with Jim Belushi. It's along the same lines of, you know, if you think that you have everything in your life, or you feel like you don't have enough in your life, there's this time where you realize, you know, what you could have been. And I don't really like a lot of Nicolas Cage movies. I won't lie to you. I really don't like a lot of Nicolas Cage movies, but The Family Man is something I always try to watch every single year. It's a real good-hearted movie. He slowly starts learning what it's like to have children, and I really won't give away the ending on this one, but I would say it's worth checking out. This is one of the best films of the year, and I would agree, Family Man, while not everyone's cup of tea, Nicolas Cage, Family Man is a good Christmas movie to check out. So there you go. There's the runner-ups, the ones that I do like, but definitely don't make up my top 10. You guys still interested? Now we're going to go through. These are the top 10 specials that I watch. This guy watches every single year. And let me know down below if you guys have seen any of these. The first one is One Magic Christmas. Now I have to come to terms with the fact that I have to admit to you guys, this is something I only watched this year. But I enjoyed it so much that this is something I'm going to watch every single year. I believe it is Canadian, but it stars Mary Steenburgen, Ted Danson's wife, and she plays a struggling mother who's married to a husband who has recently lost his job. They live in a complex kind of apartment house, but it's owned by the company that he works for. So because he's been released by the company, they're gonna lose the house. She's got 2 kids. Christmas is coming up. She works at a grocery store, and really everything has gotten her down to the point that she just does not believe in Santa, and she dislikes the Christmas season. And her youngest daughter, who I think is just an absolute sweetheart. She's so adorable. I'm trying to see if her name is on here. No, it's not. But she befriends an angel named Gideon, and Gideon, in the rest of the movie, Gideon tries to convince the mother about the magic of Christmas. Ultimately, the daughter meets Santa Claus, and I gotta say, of all the Santa Clauses in all the movies, I think he's probably one of the best Santa Clauses ever. He's just so very natural. He's just a very natural looking Santa. He doesn't look like a mall Santa. He looks like a real rustic Santa, and I think that's really awesome. The movie goes, I mean, this part I won't give away too much in this movie, but there's a part in the movie where it really goes downhill for this woman, and like so many bad things happen to her, and it becomes a bit of a depressing movie near the end, but then it gets better again. I haven't watched this every single year, but this is something that I will be watching every single year from now on. So One Magic Christmas is number 10 of my top 10 Christmas specials to watch of all time. Just gonna move that there. The next one I always watch every single year is A Charlie Brown's Christmas. I'm sure I probably don't have to tell you guys the backstory to Charlie Brown's Christmas. Everybody is seeing Charlie Brown's Christmas. They're throwing a Christmas pageant. Charlie Brown is instructed by the rest of the kids to get the tree. He gets, of course, this really pathetic tree. Hilarity ensues, of course, at the expense of poor Chuck. Linus tells Charlie Brown the meaning of Christmas. Snoopy is entering a decorating contest with his house. A great special. Now, this is the remastered deluxe edition. The Charlie Brown's Christmas has been released several times. It also features It's Christmas Time Again, Charlie Brown, but you know what? It's never the same. They always bring back these specials with the hope that they could rekindle some of it. They've done it with the Return of Frosty as well, and it's just not the same. But Charlie Brown's Christmas is definitely number 9 for me of ones I watch every single year. The next one, which I don't know if a lot of people probably do remember, if you're in the 80s and you're an 80s kid like I am, you're probably in your late 20s, early 30s, you probably have seen this one. It's Christmas Eve on Sesame Street. This is my number 8 watched Christmas special. This is the one I have to watch every single year. I might watch it tonight too. I don't know. But a brief synopsis. Big Bird wants to finally meet Santa. I think he plans to go on the rooftop. He wants to go on the rooftop, I think, to meet Big Bird. Oh, okay. Big Bird is worried that if he can't. Oh, okay. Now we go. You see, reading sometimes jars this guy's memory. He wants to know how Santa Claus can go down. How can he be so skinny to get down those little tiny trees? So he goes to find Santa Claus, and he ends up staying up on the rooftop to ask Santa the question. I think the best part of this movie is what happens between Bert and Ernie. Bert and Ernie want to exchange gifts. They don't have any money, and because Bert wants to get a soap dish for his Ernie's rubber ducky, Bert ends up giving Mr. Hooper his paperclip collection. On the other hand, you've got Ernie who wants to get a cigar box for Bert's paperclip collection, and because he doesn't have any money, he gives away his rubber ducky. This is such a heartwarming classic special. It is from 1987, and it runs 60 minutes. It's got some songs in there as well, but the part that always stands out in my mind is the gift giving between Bert and Ernie. So that is actually, what are we looking at here? 10, 9, 8. This is number 8. Spot's losing track of his counting here. Number 7, probably one that everybody watches each year, is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, starring Chevy Chase. I think Beverly D'Angelo is in it as well. And also, it's got the kid who ends up being the guy from Big Bang Theory. Now, there was a sequel made. It was a direct-to-TV sequel that had Randy Quaid reprising his role in it. It was crap. I didn't like it at all. But the original is one I always watch. For anyone who hasn't seen it, the Griswolds are celebrating Christmas, and they have their parents coming over. His parents, her parents. Of course, hilarity ensues. They're picking out the Griswold family tree. He's stringing up 25,000 lights on the house. I actually just watched it the other day, and it's basically just leading up every single day. It's leading up to Christmas. You see the Advent doors being opened up, and he's hoping he's gonna get his Christmas bonus because he wants to get a swimming pool for the back. Just a really fun classic. There's not really a lot of Chevy Chase movies that I really like watching. But the Griswolds are always right up there, and you really can't go wrong with the Christmas Vacation. All right, so that was number 7, and number 6. You got to go with the original animated Dr. Seuss, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. This is the 50th birthday deluxe edition. There was many versions released prior to this, and I gotta say, just as a side note. The Peanuts have this as well. I don't like that they put glitter all over these packages. You can't see it, but I've got glitter all over this set. Not really a great idea, but I try to really forget about the Jim Carrey Grinch. For me, this is the iconic Grinch that stole Christmas. Everybody has seen it. It's about a miserable Grinch who lives up in the mountains and decides that he wants to basically steal Christmas from the Who's in Whoville, and he doesn't have a reindeer, so he uses his dog, and basically one night he creeps down in Whoville and basically steals their trees and their ornaments and even the last can of Who hash. For everybody who watched the special, you'll know exactly what happens at the end. But this is a classic special to go with. These special features also includes Horton Hears a Who is on here as well. There's a couple of features. If you haven't had a chance to pick up the Grinch that Stole Christmas, try to go with this one. This one's got a little more going on to it than the original release of it on DVD. So that was number 6. Number 5. Now I made this cover. This isn't the original cover. This is Rowan Atkinson as Mr. Bean, The Merry Mishaps of Mr. Bean. Now again, I made this because the other Mr. Bean, The Merry Mishaps of Mr. Bean, have been packaged in the Mr. Bean sets. There were 2 sets released. Unfortunately, both sets have cut out the scene with the turkey weighing, and I think there was another scene that got cut out, but mostly the one that really stands out to me is the fact that they cut out the turkey scene. There's a scene where Mr. Bean is going up and you have to guess the weight of the turkey. Now, of course, everybody gets it wrong. Mr. Bean goes up to it, weighs the turkey. He looks down at his weight. He's got a little scale that he's standing on, calculates out the weight, gets it exact. Now, I was told by a couple of people that the Merry Mishaps of Mr. Bean, the ones that were released on the 2 box sets, those actually were ones that were pulled from the televised version of it, whereas the VHS, which is where I've actually gotten this I made this case from, the VHS version has the extra scenes in it. Now, for anyone who has still a VCR, I would say if you really want the definitive Mr. Bean's Christmas, try to find the one on VHS. I mean, the ones on the box sets are all right, but to get all of Mr. Bean, plus I don't know why, I really don't know why, but the ones that come in the box sets, they make in 2 parts. It's not really that long of a special that they don't have to put it in 2 parts, but again, it was probably because it was pulled from TV. But Merry Mishaps of Mr. Bean is definitely one I will watch every single year. I just watched it a couple of days ago. Mr. Bean, hilarious antics, especially with the picture frame and his girlfriend wanting the ring. Definitely worth checking out, Mr. Bean. And what are we looking at? Number 4? Number 4 is something that's probably going to throw you guys off a bit. Number 4, well, if you follow my Facebook, you probably know this. Number 4 for me is Silent Night, Deadly Night. This is one I have to watch every single year. I've gotten about 5, 6, maybe 100 people into this movie. Hordes of angry mothers couldn't keep it away. Silent Night, Deadly Night was released in theaters, I believe in 1984, possibly 1985. 1984. So it was released at the same time as A Nightmare on Elm Street. It was only in the theaters for like 2 weeks, and finally they pulled it. It's really a shame because I think a lot of the problem with this movie was the fact that the mothers that were protesting it the fact that it was portraying Santa Claus as a killer. Now, if anyone has seen the movie, anybody has seen the movie, you know that's not the case. Silent Night, Deadly Night is about a young boy named Billy, and on the way back from visiting his father I think he's visiting him in a not an asylum, but like a mental hospital. On the way back, his parents are brutally killed by a robber dressed as Santa Claus. Billy and his younger brother Ricky are put into an orphanage where Billy is again being traumatized by Mother Superior, who basically instructs him that being naughty, you will get punished. And then he grows up. He ends up getting a job at Ira's toy shop. And then he has to fill in for one of the guys that is, I think he breaks his ankle. He has to fill in for a guy who's going to be Santa Claus for the Santa Claus display. So the manager ends up making Billy dress up as Santa Claus. And on Christmas Eve, Billy snaps. I want to say hilarity ensues, but it has its fair bit of gore. Now, one thing about this particular movie is that it was released twice. I've got both versions here. This was the original version that was released on DVD, and it's got the double feature. It has Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, which is the continuation that has Ricky as the killer. This was the way it was originally released, and actually, as far as I know, this is the only way you can get Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. I would say if you have the option, Probably go with this version right here. This particular version is interesting because it's got extra scenes in it. They've cut out, I think they cut out a few minutes here and there when they released this version, and they restored it in this version. But unfortunately, all the extra footage is really, really bad. Not bad like, acted or anything like that, but really bad in quality. Like the footage is really, really grainy. Some of it is a lot darker than the rest of the movie, and you can see where it cuts in between the extra footage and then the regular footage, because you'll have the regular footage, and then when it cuts to the cut out footage, it goes really, really dark, and it's really hard to see. So the choice is yours, really, which one you would want to go with. I watched this one recently because I wanted to watch the uncut version. But for really what's uncut about it, you can easily go with the other version as well. Now, Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 is a completely different beast, as it were. The majority of Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, about half of it is actually footage from the first movie. Now, granted, the guy they picked to play Ricky is just awesome in the movie. His acting is so bad. But I think the one I always generally want to watch is... I like watching this one, but I don't know, the fact that the grandpa as well, that grandpa right there, he's so creepy. But I think I like watching the original. I just watched the first one a week ago, so I'm going to put those up there as well. Number 3 for my favorite Christmas specials to watch is The Christmas Story, A Christmas Story. Again, probably a staple for most households. Movies that you have to watch. If you don't watch it every year, I'm sure you'll find it on TV. This movie is played to death at Christmas time, but I don't watch it on TV. I was like just popping in the DVD and watching it. This is the remastered special edition 20th anniversary. Certainly, again, everybody has probably seen this movie. It's about a kid named Ralphie who for Christmas wants a Red Ryder BB gun, and between being told by his parents that you're going to shoot your eye out, he tries to convince Santa Claus, tries to convince his teacher, and let's not, of course, forget the old man with his leg lamp. This is one that you must watch every single year. If you're going to have to watch any Christmas special, I would say watch A Christmas Story. That is my number 3 favorite special to watch. I've got quite a pile forming here. That's my favorite special to watch at Christmas time. Number 2, now 2 and 1 are kind of very similar to one another. Number 2 of my ones I have to watch every single year is A Mickey's Christmas Carol, which is another retelling of the Dickens classic Christmas Carol. Now this stars a Scrooge McDuck as Ebenezer Scrooge. We've got Mickey as Bob Cratchit, and then we've got the Ghosts of Christmas Past, Present, and Future, played by Jiminy Cricket, Pete, and what's the giant's name? Herman? I'm totally gonna forget. I can't remember. It'll come to me, I'm sure. It doesn't say. It also has Goofy in it as Jacob Marley, which I think is one of the funnier parts of the movie. It's not very long. It's definitely not a very long movie, but it's one that I have to watch every single year. Mickey's Christmas Carol is number 2 of my favorite Christmas specials to watch of all time. And number 1, which I'm sure everybody will know by now, my number 1 favorite Christmas special of all time to watch is Alistair Sim's 1951 classic A Christmas Carol. Considered by many as the definitive Christmas Carol. You don't get anything better than the Alistair Sim version. There's just something about Alistair Sim I find compared to the other actors that have played Ebenezer Scrooge. There's just something about Alistair Sim that I find he's just the perfect Grinch. And even though he had done movies prior to the Christmas Carol and he had done movies after, he will always be known, and he was always known as Ebenezer Scrooge. This was basically the role of his career. Now this version, this is the ultimate collector's version. This is one of those movies that have been released numerous times. There's probably about a dozen or so releases of this movie. I would prefer, and I would say if you guys are looking for it, I would get the ultimate version just because it's got the colorized version as well as the black and white. It also does have, as far as I know, it's got the 1935 Seymour Hicks version of Scrooge as well. And it's got some trailers, it's got the restoration narrative. It's got really a lot going on in this. And this is something that I haven't watched yet, but I will watch Christmas Eve. Just because it has become a tradition in my house. So there you go, guys. Hopefully that answered everybody's question. I was having a look at my top 10 favorite Christmas specials of all time. This is ones I watch every single year. Now I think I've gotten the majority of them. I've watched all of them, I think except for 2 or 3 of them. But rest assured, with a week left or so in Christmas, before Christmas, I'm gonna definitely get those watched. So let me know down below. If you guys have managed to make it through 30 minutes of this video, let me know down below what you guys have as your top 10. Your top 10 favorite Christmas specials. Is it these ones here? Is it other ones? Let me know down below. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.